What's going on, everybody? Godzilla Options here with your weekly setups going into the week of February 21st, 2023. Monday the 20th is President's Day, which means the markets are closed, so no trading, sadly. See you Tuesday. I was asked to try to make these videos a little bit shorter since last week's was like 30 minutes, so I'm going to change the lineup in this yet again. I have the economic calendar, the market outlook, and I'm even going to include the weekly setups that our Discord bot has spit out. And I'm going to leave it to Smart Trades this week to give you some of the setups that he likes. So let's get to it. All right, what does our economic calendar look like for next week? It doesn't really start until Wednesday, thank goodness. But on Wednesday, we do have the FOMC minutes that are going to be dropping, and those are going to give us a lot of information about the Fed and why they raised 25 basis points a couple weeks back instead of 50 or 100, or didn't raise at all. You're going to be able to understand the actual comments that they made during this meeting. So the market will be very volatile around this time. It might actually end up being pretty stagnant going into it, but what you'll notice is the market moves like crazy once these minutes drop. So people are going to be dissecting what they said, how they said it, the inflection they used, everything you can possibly think of to try to make the markets move. So be prepared for some volatility there. Next on Thursday, we have jobless claims going into pre-market hours, so be prepared. If you have a bias going into Thursday, the jobless claims could completely wreck that bias, and you might need to rethink what you're doing or re-strategize. And then at 10:50, Bostic is speaking, so he can give some more insight as to what he's thinking and why he thought what he thought when the FOMC minutes came out the previous day, and we all read those. So that's at 10:50. The market doesn't necessarily move like crazy when Bostic talks. It's really only when Powell talks. So but that is something you should probably know. If you're trading energy at 11 a.m., they're going to be dropping the crude oil stocks and gasoline stocks change. So be prepared for that if you're trading that particular sector. And then on Friday, we have great information coming out, personal income, core PCE, new home sales, and then we have some more Fed speakers later on in the mid-morning. So those are going to be the events that you need to be looking out for the week of February 21st. All right, let's start our market outlook out with SPY, and keep in mind this is all conjecture. This is just me looking at charts, looking at price action, and saying I think SPY is going to go this way, going to retest this area, going to do this or that. So starting with the month on SPY, we have this shooter candle that has developed here. Obviously, it's a 2 up. We did sort of kind of this. Blue, wow, I'm feeling colorblind already this morning. This blue bar here is our broadening formation on the monthly that has been drawn. So it's the high of this November candle and the high of the December candle. The points are just touching, and we crossed through it and pretty much rejected and came back down. So that is something that if we look at it on the weekly, we can kind of get more information what's going on here. So the very first trading week of February, we had this massive 2 up push. And since then, we've been step staring down, 1 bar consolidation. We did end up getting the 2-1-2 formation to the downside. It just wasn't, very strong. Eventually, we did end up seeing some of the buyers, kind of step in to save the week. So if we take a look at the week now, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these last 5 candles are this past week here. So we had a good move up, another move up, another move up, and then we started with this gap down, kind of came up and then sold off at the end of the day here. So that was on Thursday. And then Friday, we had this gap down and a slow move to the upside here. So we can see the day high and the day low are here, and the Friday day low also made the weekly low. So that is really the formation of our weekly candle consolidation. People are unsure what's going on right now. That's what this tells me. So if I go back to the week and take a look, this is pretty much 2 doji candles in a row. Just indecision right here. So I personally think that we're going to be moving to the downside a little bit more. I think when the economic information comes out this coming week that we'll see just a small downside move. Remember, going into this week, we were primed for a PMG to the downside move. So, remember that. So again, 5 consecutive higher lows in a row is going to make our pivot machine gun. So that is what we have now. We've already triggered it. But ideally you want to see the pivot machine gun happen in one fluid movement versus this. So, my guess is that we're just going to kind of be stepping down a little bit, take a breather, because, this is a big move right here. So we go from 374 to 418-ish in the course of, a month and a half. So that's a big move. We need to take some, consolidation. We need to take some retracement for a healthy move back to the upside. Is that retracement done? Personally, I don't think so. All right, moving on to QQQ, same kind of general story here. What we have, again, on the monthly is not really a shooter candle anymore because the real body's just so big, but it definitely has that, shooter candle vibe here with the body being a lot smaller on the downside than the wick is. So that's what we have for the month. If we move down to the week, we have a double inside week. This is classic indecision right here. Just consolidation, not really sure what's going on. So basically we've been ranging for the last 2 weeks, kind of up and down here between this particular the second week, the February 6th week here, and last week. So this is chop shop. So if you've been trading tech, you've probably been noticing a lot of the movements just kind of sitting there going sideways, up, down, up, down, up, down, and hopefully you're not getting stopped out or chopped out. So those are things always to kind of look for. I do really look for some sort of break before I get into something like to the upside or downside, just to show me that we have some life or maybe some death if it's moving to the downside. So another inside week. That is really the moral of the story here for QQQ. If we look at it on the daily, here's your day. Your daily is just up, down, up, down, up, down. So what to look out for? Well, at this point, I want to see a break of this range. I'm not going to touch any tech, any QQQ index, contracts or anything like that until we actually see a break of the range. Now, if I zoom out here, the other thing that I want to point out is this is a double top now, and we've been playing around with it for quite some time. A lot of heavy resistance here, clearly, because we passed through it and then literally just pretty much rejected it and started going down again. So 311.08 is that area that you want to look out for some resistance. If we do start getting a push up, I'd want to see a push up through that now, 311.08. So otherwise, hopefully we don't range more, but if we do, again, we have a pivot machine gun set up here. So there's a higher low. Here's 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 a higher low. And then we got this very last one all the way down here. So, I mean, that's all the way down to 259.73 with nothing but pivot machine gun. So, yeah, that's some, and we do have this bull flag that's formed here too. So that's, something that you're going to want to know if you're going to be trading any technology or QQQ. And DIA, the Dow Jones, not really the same kind of setup, actually. We had a 212 up, but it's a failed 2 on this past month right now. So this is, again, a doji candle. We have the rejection of pretty much the 1 bar. So we've coming back in. That's the monthly. So we're sitting in a failed 2 up on the monthly. If we look at the weekly, it really doesn't look all that much pretty. It's been going sideways, literally sideways, y'all. I don't really know many people that trade DIA, but I figure it's important to point it out since the banks and oil and stuff like that kind of trade within this sector. So nothing but sideways. This is even worse range than we were looking at on QQQ. So what do we expect here? Well, we had an outside bar week. So, and it's red. That's not cool. So that, to me, kind of indicates that we're going to be looking at some downside. But then again, this indecision right here, I do think that we might end up seeing some more chop just because we did get this downside move and the buyers stepped in on Friday to help drive this back up and create pretty much that doji outside bar, which is something that you don't see very often here. So as far as DIA goes, I'm staying away from it. It's ranging, but I do definitely want to see a break of the weekly low or the weekly high to kind of kick off some sort of move. But really what I want to see is a break down under 332.55 or a move up over the weekly and monthly high of 343.49.50 area. Lastly, IWM is here for the small caps. I was asked to do this one, so I figured I would. I don't typically trade IWM though, so I hope y'all enjoy this one. Very similar setup to SPY and QQQ. We have the two up, and it's kind of starting to turn into a shooter candle here, just not as aggressively as SPY was on the monthly. If we look at the weekly, double inside week. So again, ripe for some sort of PMG movement here. So higher, 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 and higher, and higher. So all of these are your PMG levels where you're going to be starting to see, if we do get this downside move, mind you, double inside week, I'm not looking for the break of the last inside bar. I want a break of the very first inside bar, because to me, these are all, you know, part of this one right here. So I want to see a 212 or a 212. So a break below 188.53 or a break above 196.38 to actually give us some, range here. So that's the weekly. If we move down to the daily, we did have the sell off at the beginning of February that just kind of drove this down. And then we've had, a few green days, pretty much all green week this past week for IWM, but these aren't very big moves, y'all. So I again am looking for an actual break. We're sitting in indecision mode in all of the indexes. If that's not clear at this point, I hope I just made it clear by saying so. With that, we need some actual decent news to push the market up. I do think any semblance of bad news, we're going to see like gap downs in the morning, but every time there hasn't been great news from numbers like jobless or CPI or PPI or anything this past week, it gapped down, but then we had a strong move up. The buyers stepped in and said, let's bring the price back up. So that's why we just see this range, this sideways movement on all these indexes. So that is something to keep in mind when you are trading this week. Make sure that you wait for the move or that you see the move, and then you get into your trade, and probably be a quick in and out since it's been nothing but chop lately. All right, a new element we're going to be adding is the weekly watch that the Strat Alerts have come out with. These are the setups and the stocks that we are watching in particular for the coming week. So if you're new to the Discord or you're not a member yet, it is available in the description link. So make sure you check that out. All right, so to get started, we got our 3-1 with CVS consolidation there. It's kind of nice to see CVS not actually dropping for another week in a row. So this one was consolidation though, so hopefully it actually starts to move to the upside. Our 2 up continuation with Wells Fargo. That is the only bank that's in there though, so that's interesting to me. Then we have our failed 2 up with SBUCK, so it took out the previous week or previous week's high, and then ended up red on the week. So SBUCKs is one that is prime for a 2-2 reversal to the downside. We have our outside bar up with GM, Tesla, Roblox, U, and UPST. So it took out the previous week's low, and then it took out the previous week's high, and it ended green on the week. So these are all things that are looking for some range expansion. So we're looking for like a 2 up in this case, or a 2 down to actually expand some sort of ridge, and that's where you would draw your broadening formations there. So Roblox is kind of the outlier here because it actually did have earnings. So that is one that really just got moved because of the earnings. But then again, you can trade earnings. So Moving to the 2-1s, more consolidation, finance in general, and then we have American Airlines, CCL, MGM, Microsoft, and XOM. MGM and UAL are very interesting to me because they have those shooter candles and one bar consolidation. So be on the lookout for a 2-1-2 to the downside. That's what I'd be looking for those two there. Then we have our 2-down continuations, NEO, Amazon, Baba, PayPal, QCOM, and V. A lot of these are pretty much technology. I guess not NEO since that's more EV, but that is something to keep in mind. You're going to notice that a lot of technology here has shooter candles. Our 2-1 up RevStrat potential, so we're looking for a 2 down with Apple, and that shooter candle is definitely something that I'm going to be looking at for the coming week. Apple can actually help move the SPY and the QQQ indexes, so that is always one that you want to have a beat on, know what it's doing. Our failed 2 downs, remember these took out the previous week's low and then ended up green on the week. So UAL, XLCF, LCD, LCID, and AMC. And then PMG downside. So been moving up, and we're looking for a big slide down. DKing just had some good earnings. So I don't necessarily think that we're going to see a slide down unless people just decide that they really, really want to take profit. They got in super low and, we just maybe see a sell off from there. Wouldn't bet on it though. And then our 2 down 1, so looking for a reversal with PG and the hammer candle there, and then looking for a 2 down 1 continuation to the downside with Intel with the shooter candle. Outside bar down, DIA, Oxy, and XLE, so that's pretty much energy right there in a nutshell. And then obviously the Dow Jones, and then our PMG the upside with PFE, and then our 1-2 down, looking for a 2 up RevStrat here. That would be the actual pattern that we have, but MU looks like it could be going down some more to turn into a 2 down continuation. And those are going to be your weekly setups in the 1 week Strat Alert watch list.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So the first stock that I'm watching here is SQ. Let's start off, as always, by looking at the monthly chart, which is here on my right side. For the month, if you look, it did make this 3 bar back in November, and then it's just been going up ever since it broke 312 to the upside. Now, below here, we have the chalk and money flow. It's been underneath the 0 line. It tries to make its way up to the 0 line, but it gets denied every time it tries it. Then it's got to a little bit of curling coming down, which is selling. So I don't know. We went 2 up on the month. Do we come back down to make an outside month over here again? We shall find out. MACD is also below the 0 line too, so it both needs to get above the 0 line to be positive. Let's move over to the weekly chart over here on the left side. Weekly chart did make an inside week, which is a good thing for the stock, so it's type of a correction. If we look below here, the chalk and money flow is still above the 0 line, which is positive. MACD is trying to get above the 0 line, but every time it does, it kind of slowly comes back down. We'll see if both can stay above the 0 line to make for a bullish move. If we do that, the 2-1-2 to the upside entry would be here at 82.70. First target would be 84.29 area. After that, over here at 89.97, and then finally 93.19 or 93 even. If we do go down 2-1-2 to the downside, entry would be about 74.17 area. The first take profit all the way down at 69.24. After that, 67.66. After that, price target 3 would be 62.50. And then finally, last but not least, 58.34. It seems like a PMG to the downside, almost making its way down to here, the 3 bar low. We'll see what happens. The next stock on my weekly watch is one of my favorites to play when nothing else is moving in the markets. I love to play Tesla for a quick day trade, or a swing trade even. Let's start off here on the monthly chart. Monthly did go 2 down, 2 up, bullish reversal. We kind of bounced right here at the 50-day and went upwards at that point. Down below, chalk and money flow is looking positive. MACD is diverging downwards, but at the same time, it's still above the 0 line. So it's a positive outlook for the month. If you move over here to the weekly chart, we have made an outside week. Down below, the Chaikin money flow has gone above the zero line, still heading up. MACD is curling up and still moving up, so that's positive for the week as well. If we go 3, 2, now this is a big range, right? The high of this 3 bar to the low of this 3 bar, so this is a weekly watch. So if you want to do weekly swing trades, I'd probably go 2 weeks out once it breaks either side and put a stop loss as well, just to be safe. So if it does go 3, 2 to the upside break, I would target the next one probably at this 3 bar right here, just to be safe, which is like 229.82 area, which is a pretty big range for the week. If we go 3, 2 to the downside, enter at 187.61, and then you're targeting, I would say 162.72 as the next target down here. Now, mind you, this is the weekly range, and that's why the range is so big. And knowing Tesla, it can get to that price point. That's my take on Tesla. Thank you.
That's going to wrap up this edition of the Weekly Watch. Make sure you join our free trading Discord with the link in the description field to get intraday strat setups with our custom bots. Also remember to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and click that bell to get notified when we drop another video. Happy trading!